The other thing to recognize about anger is that it's a cover emotion. It's hiding something much, much deeper. The first thing it's hiding is fear. And underneath that fear, ultimately, is sadness. Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you 7 steps to work through the anger, the fear, and ultimately the sadness, so you can get free of the anger that's probably robbing you or creating a lot of trouble in your life. So let's get started with the first part of this. These first 3 steps are going to help us uncover what the anger is hiding, which is the fear. Now the first step, the next time anger hits you, I'm inviting you to pause and ask yourself, where in my body do I feel this? Like, just take, you may explode and that's fine, but as soon as possible, try and locate where in your body you're feeling this anger, rage, upset, whatever it may be. Step number 2 is ask yourself, what's my first memory of having this feeling in my body? You may have several. It may be something that happened recently. It may be, you might, something in the last 5 years, say, and then maybe, ask yourself, okay, what's my next? Like, keep tracking it. Eventually, you're going to arrive at a source, a first memory of when you had this sense of anger in this certain part of your body at a certain age, all right? Now we move into step 3, what I call the rest in peace model. It's an acronym for rejection, R, inadequacy, I, P, or powerlessness, peace. So whenever we're angry, we're experiencing fear, and fear is always either the fear of rejection, the fear of inadequacy. In other words, it's not that we are inadequate, it's that we fear we don't have the skill, the knowledge, skills, or tools to do something. It's inadequate. I just don't know what to do here, all right? Or the fear of powerlessness, all right? So when you have that initial moment, where in my body do I feel it? What's my first memory of it? Now, boom, I was 4 years old, 10 years old, whatever it was. Mom, dad said this, brother, sister, I couldn't do it. I felt rejected, inadequate, or powerless. And so now you've learned that, okay, this is actually what I'm afraid of. And this is why I'm getting so angry all the time, is I am stuck replaying this fearful, tremendously fearful pain from the past. Now, to go in deeper and learn the complete, part of this recovery is learning how to conquer your fear. I encourage you, go watch my 5-part series, which I did on how to stop stress. And this walks you through the complete rest in peace model, so you can see how the fear of the past, the fear you learned in the past, is still operating in your life in the present. And when you know exactly, how to deal with rejection, inadequacy, and powerlessness, you'll be able. That's going to give you huge strides in your ability to navigate calming down your anger, because you're lacking it's inadequacy. Not that you are an inadequate person. A lot of people they hear that term and it triggers them right away. Boom, fear. Because if I'm inadequate, I'll get rejected. And oh my gosh, then I'm powerless, right? There's certain words people don't like. Why? Ask yourself, what are you feeling? Where in your body? What's your first memory? Somewhere in childhood, there was a terribly shameful moment at being inadequate. And that's why there's a defensive reaction. And you're just reliving that. I didn't say you're inadequate, but you're still stuck in that pain from the past. And so certain words you don't like, and they trigger you. All right? That's why this whole cancel culture and everyone creating victim identities of don't say this, don't say that, all of it is past shame from their childhood that's never been dealt with. And they're asking us as adults to heal it for them. Well, we can't heal it for them. It doesn't matter what name we call them, it won't heal it. They have to go back to the past in their childhood where they got sent the message. And so now they're just trying to get us to fix it for them. We can't fix it for them. And the same holds true for you. In this moment, the other person can't fix this for it. We have to do that ourselves by becoming an expert in the fear of the past. All right. Now let's move to the next 4 steps that help us start addressing the underlying sadness. The first one, step 4, is to get into reality. Now this is going to feel like an assault when I say this, but this is literally when you are having your anger outbursts. The child inside of us is screaming out, please, please, don't find out how inadequate and powerless I feel right now, and by God, don't you dare reject me. That's the underlying sadness. That's beneath all anger. Remember, we start with anger, which hides the fear, but the fear is hiding the sadness of how inadequate and powerless and fearful of rejection we were as a child. Now you can see how they all tie together. All of us, when we're angry, are incredibly sad for the perfectly imperfect moments when our parents, brothers, sister, coaches, pastors, whoever it was, couldn't be there for us. And they threatened our sense of safety, our sense of love from them, towards them, for ourselves, all of that, the shame, all the different things that happened were placed into us. And we are literally, when we are angry, or when someone is angry with you, this will help you to recognize their anger at you has nothing to do with you. It is the child inside of them screaming out, please, I'm begging you, don't find out how inadequate and powerless I feel right now, and please, please don't you dare reject me. That is the reality. We have to start getting into truth. That's what we all are experiencing underneath all anger. And whether it's coming at us or we're taking that anger out on somebody else. That's the truth for everybody, okay? So, to understand that process a little bit more deeply and how we are taking the feelings from the past and projecting them forward, go watch my other video called Are We Responsible for Other People's Feelings? What you're going to get out of that video is the latest neuroscience on how all of us create our own emotions. Nobody makes us feel. It's a process in our brain and body. That's what the video's for. There are 3 ways emotions are made, and they're all done by us, nobody else. We do them. And that's what the neuroscience shows. And so I give you that information, and this will really empower you. It takes you out of that helpless, hopeless, powerless, rejected, inadequate, powerless feeling. It empowers you and from here you can stay safe, and this will help you navigate both cover emotions, both the anger and the fear, and ultimately put you in a place where you can start addressing the underlying sadness that's at the heart of all of our anger. Okay? Now let's move on to step 5. We need to start working through the rage and resentment recovery. I have 2 videos, these are separate videos. There's so much work to be done in that I'm going to send you to 2 other videos. The first one is to work with more the rage aspect of it. The name of that video is called Anger Management Techniques, How to Write a Rage Letter. And you're going to learn the 7 steps to writing that, of how you work through the sadness inside of you, where you're going to start the process of giving the pain back of where you learned it, because remember, that's all that's going on in this is the pain from the past. So you're going to get the skills and tools to do that. Also, there's a 10-step process to working through pain from our past. That's a different video. It's called How to Heal Pain from the Past. And I walk you through every aspect of that. Now, I talk about the rage letter in that, but I don't give you the process for the rage letter complete. Well, that's why I'm giving you both of these. These 2 videos together will walk you through everything so that you can do the rage and resentment recovery work. Because ultimately, a main part of our repeated anger is the resentment. We haven't worked through the pain that was dumped into us by our caregivers that we learned, and also how because of that, we are now putting ourselves to recreate these emotions and these life experiences ultimately at the heart of resentment is our resentment for ourselves. If I can't forgive you, it means I haven't forgiven myself. I'm going to throw in this off the top of my head. If you're struggling with forgiveness, go watch my video, How to Forgive Anyone in, I think that's what it's called, How to Forgive Anyone in 23 Minutes. I'll put a little thing on the screen here so you know exactly which video it is. But that'll walk you through the process of how to confront your own personal resentment and learn to forgive yourself. You think you're angry at them, but you're angry at yourself, and that'll set you free. All right? Now we need to do the fear recovery work. Well, I already gave you that solution. That's going to watch my 5-part series, How to Stop Stress. You can find that on either my fear or my stress playlist on YouTube. And once you recognize rejection, nobody ever rejects us. I know that's hard to believe, but it's true. And that's why you need that skill. Inadequacy, one of the easiest fears to overcome. You're going to see why it's so easy to overcome. Powerlessness, this one's tricky. There are a lot of layers to this, and this is what gets most people and why they're so filled with rage, is the powerlessness. Well, there are several key factors in powerlessness, and that's why, this is my second time telling you to go watch that 5-part series, because when you learn what's creating your powerlessness and how simple it is, some simple changes that will move you from powerless to empowered. Once you have that skill set, that's really going to drop your, how often you use the cover emotion of anger. All right. Now, finally, we move to step 7, mourning the sadness. Now, this is an all-encompassing experience. It's not just in our brain, but it's in our body, it's in our heart, it's everything. And emotions are a physical experience. And so, at least in my opinion, all emotional mastery requires that we have some sort of physical process as a part of it. Well, that's breath work, that's meditation, that's massage, that's acupuncture, Reiki. Gosh, and now I feel really bad about all the practitioners I'm forgetting that are really body-based. I've had tremendous effect. I have really bad ankle, hurt it a lot as a kid and never got therapy on it. And I've had some really significant trauma breakthroughs. And, I went back to a physical therapist because now at my age, it's getting harder to move around because I never got that taken care of. I didn't have self-care when I was younger. And in working on that, I've released a lot of past trauma that was stuck in that. And that's true for all of us. So for us to be able to move through the rage and anger, we have to recognize that trauma stores in our body too. And so it is part of the healing journey is to get rid of our anger. We must do body work. And breath is incredibly important to that, to lower our thermostat. Because if we've been operating in this cover emotion of anger, we aren't at our authentic self. Breath work will help bring that down. Meditation helps bring that down. Massage, all these other body modalities help bring that down. And finally, to me, the most important one, and men, this may be difficult for you, we must cry. We must. I used to schedule it every day. When I was going through this part of my journey, every day I'd come home and I would put myself in a position to bring up pain from the past, and I would mourn it. I recognized I could only do 30 minutes before I'd tip into what's called learned helplessness. I'd want to collapse and give up, I would get really dark. And so I learned that I could only do 30 minutes of it. And then I had to get into self-love, self-care type stuff, which was going for walks. I did a lot of painting back then, but things that nurtured me. And that you'll have to find that, where is that balance for you? But to fully move through our anger, we have to mourn. We have to grieve. Because do you see what's causing our anger? Do you see the common thread in all of it? It's pain from the past. It's what we learned as a child. It's all the wounds, all those fearful moments where we were neglected and abandoned and hurt and shamed. That's what our anger is. Even in this moment, I know you're going, but Kenny, that doesn't have anything to do with my spouse and partner who did this. Well, yes, it does. Because the only reason you were attracted to that partner is because you were going to relive that moment that you haven't healed. That's the worst day cycle. It's how it works for all of us. Our brain and body becomes addicted to repeating the trauma it hasn't healed. If you don't know how the worst day cycle is, how it works and how it operates in every single one of us, it's a human dynamic. All of that can be found in my book or my worst day cycle playlist. So there you go. There are 7 steps to get past the cover emotion of anger and fear and into really what's going on. Deep, deep sadness from the pain we experienced as a child that hasn't been worked through. And I've given you a lot of resources to go do that deeper healing work. If you know somebody who's stuck in anger, if you think this will help them, please share it. If you think this type of content will help people, please just hit that like button. And finally, leave me your comments. Let me know how this helped you. And as always, enjoy the journey.